Yo, welcome in, much love Hoopers. Got a good question about training for overtime. Should we train for overtime? And if so, what's the best way to train for overtime? Really fascinating. And to start off, should say that training for overtime is not for everyone. I mean, a lot of us have other things going on in our lives, and it's just kind of get in when you can get in. You've 15 minutes in the gym, or you have an hour in the gym, or you have so much time. But theoretically, say that basketball is your entire life and you want to plan everything out, all the details, and you want to train for overtime and you want to plan for overtime specifically. Obviously, there's an advantage to this because you're going to start overtime with the confidence that is real because you have prepared for overtime when probably no one else really has. You know that you're physically more prepared than these other people, and that's going to give you a mental advantage as well. And that's going to transfer over to the fourth quarter as well because when and if people are getting tired in the fourth quarter, you're not because you're ready to go one more, right? So that's why we would want to train for overtime. How we would train for overtime, pretty simple, right? Endurance, game skills training. You go 5 quarters, right? Um, the way that you schedule it or sequence it could be similar to a game, could be more difficult than a game, but the important thing is to have 5, not just 4. But here's something interesting that I recommend. So say for instance you have your 4 quarters of game skills training where you're doing a variety of things. You're doing off-ball movement and you're working on screens and you're working on passing and you're working on defense and rebounding and all these things, right? Because there's a lot going on in the game more than dribbling and scoring and man-to-man defense, right? But in the fifth quarter, if you're going to be endurant when no one else is, your team may need you to pick up the scoring load, pick up the dribbling load, divert from team ball to isolation more, right? Similarly, you might need to pick up their best defender if you have gas in the tank and no one else does. So for the first 4 quarters of your game skills training, it could be a good idea to practice really a diversity of skills. And then that fifth quarter of game skills training, you switch to more focus on dribbling, scoring, and man-to-man defense. That way, when the game comes around, you're prepared to thrive within the coach's system and shine individually, but within the coach's system in the first 4 quarters. And when the fifth quarter comes around, people are going to be tired on both teams. Things may break down. If you can run the team ball, great, you can still do that. But if the team needs you to step up because you have the endurance and you've practiced, you're ready to bring the ball up, you're ready to score, and you're ready to lock up their defender. So that's the way that I would recommend doing it. However, some brief, semi-related notes. I feel that in general, in a game of basketball, you shouldn't really be gasping for air so much. I mean, right, so it's not super cardio, right? There's bursts of sprinting in basketball, and then there's some standing in the corner, which is fine. There's some standing in timeouts. If you're really gasping for air, it's going to be hard for you to shine in your skills, and you should get subbed out, or you should not work as hard. I don't mean work as hard. Be more efficient in your movements, right? Basketball is not so much an endurance game, and we'll get into this more with more videos coming soon. It's not so much an endurance game. It's not so much a strategy game. Sorry, it's not so much a skill game. It's not so much a athleticism game. It's a strategy game. So you have to think about how you can conserve energy and to save it for those bursts of speed where you need to sprint up the court and dunk it or pick someone up and lock down on defense. And then if you can't get out, and then I guess work on your endurance. But that's unrelated discussion. This discussion is about how to train for overtime, which would be those 5 quarters, go an hour and a half or whatever. I wouldn't recommend training for a double overtime. That feels unnecessary to me to do all the time because most games end in 4 quarters. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would recommend you do. pick up the dribbling and the scoring load and the man-to-man defense, and that should be really fun for you, really fun, and you'll go in there with the confidence and the fun. So I hope this helps. Let me know what else you want to hear in the comments. Much love.